Welcome back to the show, everyone. Welcome back. Before we go to the next guest, I want to give props and thanks to that first guest, Jimmy Carter. Jimmy, thank you for that fantastic story about the Home Depot goblins. I never knew anything about those spooky goblins in the plumbing section, but now I do. Everyone knows what we do in this show. We explore the unusual, the strange, and the unexplained. And you know what else we cover? We cover Bigfoot. So everyone, I have a treat for you tonight. I have the author of one of the hottest Bigfoot books on the market today. I have Craig Durham in studio. He's going to talk to us about his book, The Day I Met Bigfoot. Craig, welcome to the show, my brother.
Thanks, Dirk. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Pleasure is all mine on this side of the table, boy.
I got to say, I was out in the hallway listening in on that Jimmy Carter story.
Incredible man, incredible man.
Makes you, look at Home Depot a different way, huh?
It's the thing about this show, man. We put the best on. Like you. You're the best tonight, so we're on now.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
So you have a great story here about the day you met Bigfoot. Now, I have a series of questions. I need to ask these because this is a fan-based show, and fans want to hear stuff. So let's start with my first question, jump right in here. This took place in the 1990s. Obviously, it's 2018. Why did it take so long to write this book?
Well, I wasn't really actively out there talking about my Bigfoot story, but I have a couple people that I work with who know the story, and I think over many years of convincing, they wanted me to tell my story, and here we are. I got a friend who knows a thing or two about getting books published, and he was a big help too, but here we are.
So late 90s, you were, I think I remember you're 18, 19, something like that?
Right, 18 years old. This was in 1998.
Okay. Now, obviously, I have to do some research before I have a guest on the show, but before I did the research, I read your book on my own. I just got it off of Amazon.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm a big Bigfoot book buff.
Wow.
So I loved it even before I knew you were coming on the show. So obviously, after I found out you were coming on the show, the producers hand me a bunch of paperwork. I go through it and yada, yada. Mm-hmm. And I'm reading, we have over 360 emails from people wanting you on this show because of your book. Are you aware of the impact your encounter has on the Bigfoot community?
Well, to be honest with you, I wasn't. I had no idea that this would be such a thing. But a buddy of mine, Paul, from he's the one I think who got us hooked up.
Great guy, man.
Paul from the Bigfoot Foundation.
Yeah, great guy. Makes a mean brisket, by the way.
Yeah. No, he keeps me up to date with a lot of the activity. He has a big Instagram account, and he goes out on Bigfoot.
Bigfoot sits. I've done a few of those.
Okay, yeah, Bigfoot sits, and no, believe me, I hear a lot from Paul.
Great guy. I love Paul. Actually, Paul is going to be on the show in 2 weeks, so you should tune in and listen to that. It's going to be a good show.
Cool.
All right, in this story here, you do have you talk about mountain biking. Now, in your encounter, you have bikes involved, and so is this a typical thing for you, riding a bike, or was this new?
Oh, no, this is a typical thing. I was always riding bikes, mountain biking. I started off riding BMX bikes in the woods. We have some woods in the neighborhood.
Nice.
Yeah, woods in the neighborhood that we lived in.
I used to have a Huffy.
Well, that's a classic.
It is.
But I'm sure I had a Huffy, too, at some point. But, yeah, we rode our bikes in the woods that were down the street from our house, the neighborhood, all the neighborhood kids. We were always in there catching turtles and frogs at the pond, but we would hop on our bikes and ride down there.
It's nothing better than riding a bike, man. I ride my bike every day to work, 2 miles every day. I strap on that safety helmet, and boom, I'm gone like the wind.
Wow.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, we didn't wear too many safety helmets back in the 90s.
Yeah, now you do, though. You get the hikers pointing the fingers.
The hikers yell at you if you don't have the helmet on, but you got to wear the helmet now.
They act like they own the woods, not Bigfoot.
Yeah, well.
All right, back to the story. So, in this story, there's a big premise around the woods, and you do get lost in these woods. And I have to ask, because my listeners want to know, why did you not have a map? And I don't remember at the top of my head, but did you or did you not have a phone with you?
I did have a phone, just your basic flip phone at the time. I didn't have any service, unfortunately, but we were out in the middle of nowhere. And, believe me, I had my phone. I must have looked at my phone a million times, And we didn't have a map because we would just offer a little ride. We didn't realize how deep into the woods that we would get. And
So in the woods, phone signal, no phone signal?
no phone signal in the woods. Like I said, I must have checked my phone a million times. But, we're used to riding our bikes back in Boston. You go into the woods. If you're in there even all day and you're on a trail, you eventually end up on a street or behind a shopping mall somewhere. We didn't have these expansive forests like they do out in California.
Yeah.
So we were so used to not being able to get lost. In fact, back in Boston, we would get on our bikes and we would almost try to get lost. It's sort of an adventure. And
just different landmass.
We weren't expecting. We were out of our element, and we definitely weren't prepared.
So being a Beantown boy, why were you in California? Because the story did take place in California, correct?
Well, it did take place in California, yes. It was in Mount Shasta area, Northern California.
Now, where is that?
That's in Northern California.
Northern California. Wine country.
Yeah. So my brother was living out in California at the time, and he had accepted a new job. So he had to move from one part of California to another. So myself and a buddy of mine, childhood friend, who actually we rode bikes together.
Okay.
Mountain biking at that time. So we went out there to help him move. And we weren't going out there to mountain bike or anything like that, but my brother just happened to have a couple mountain bikes. He was living with a roommate at the time, and his roommate had a mountain bike. So when we were done helping him move, we tossed the bikes in our rental car and we drove up to Mount Shasta. We saw Mount Shasta in like a tourist magazine.
And
we just, so it looks like a place that has some trails. We had nothing to do. We were on vacation.
A couple of teenagers looking for some fun.
So we hopped in the in the rental car. We threw the bikes in there and we went up for a ride. We were probably just planning on going for a quick little ride during the day, not realizing what it would turn into.
So you find yourself out in the woods here, and at some point you do have an encounter with a Bigfoot.
We do. Yes, we do.
Can you go into detail? Like, how did that come about?
Sure. Well, there's obviously a lot more detail in the book than I can really explain.
Just give us a little rundown.
In a quick interview. But basically, in a nutshell, we're on the trail. We're probably lost at this point, but I don't think we had realized. We're just riding along. So I get a flat tire on my bike. We're on a trail, and I flip my bike upside down to change my tire. My buddy flips his bike upside down. He's trying to mess with some gears and stuff to get his bike working as well. And so I'm yanking at the tire, trying to get the tire off. My water bottle falls. It kind of rolls down the hill, kind of around a bend on the rocky trail we're on. So
Okay.
I go down. I go down there to grab the water bottle. I hear some noise. I turn around, and there it is. Bigfoot standing right there. It's probably 10, 12 feet away.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Right behind a small tree.
Now, could you make out, was this male, female? Did you see genitalia?
I didn't. Neither of us really could tell. I don't think we even thought about it at the time. We knew that it wasn't something that we have ever seen before. That's
No,
for sure.
I've had many Bigfoot people on this show talk about their experiences, and I got to say, you're the only experience I've had so far where there was a Bigfoot out in the open in the daylight like this.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know if that's unusual, but that's our experience. That's basically what happened to us.
Okay, so
And
your water bottle kind of rolls down. You see the Bigfoot. What happens?
So Bigfoot, basically, he's kind of, I want to say it's like, I kind of reference it in the story as kind of like a child. The Bigfoot seems probably as scared of us as we were of it. We were both kind of just stood there frozen. And so this Bigfoot kind of it seemed like attempting to hide behind a tree that it was. I mean, we could see it. It was a small tree. This is a big animal, whatever.
So if you had to guess, how tall do you think this thing was?
I would say that this thing was 7 to 8 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah.
What color was the hair, fur?
Oh, it was about a reddish brown. It was. I'm sure you're familiar with the Patterson-Gimlin film, and the typical Bigfoot, I guess you could say.
Yep.
It was your typical Bigfoot. It wasn't like a scary monster. It wasn't anything I've ever seen. I mean, honestly, if you would take a gorilla and a human and somehow mix them together, it was like exactly what it was.
Wow, it's fascinating.
I've never seen anything like it since, and I never seen anything before that. It was
so it's hiding behind the tree. What happens next?
So it's hiding behind the tree, and me and my buddy, we're standing there. We're just basically shocked. We're standing there. It felt like, a long time, but it was probably just a few seconds. But this thing had tossed something towards us. It was basically like a little chain. We didn't know what you can hear that chain cling, and so we grab it, we pick it up, and it's this Volkswagen keychain.
Wow.
So we were like, what the heck is going on
So
here?
let me get this straight. Bigfoot kind of like threw a chain towards you, almost like, hey, here's a gift.
I wouldn't say it was a gift. I was wondering, I think we look back now and wondering, like, was it trying to figure out if we were as curious of it as we were? We have no idea, but this thing had tossed a chain out at us, and we reached down and picked it up, and I still have it today.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So after that little situation, did this Bigfoot take off into the woods, or?
It did. I wouldn't go as far as say took off. It kind of slowly walked away. But before that, actually, we look back now and we almost did the same thing that Bigfoot did to us. He kind of tossed this chain out at us. Maybe to see if we were curious, but we did the same thing. So we had a backpack. We're on our bikes. We had a backpack full of, we had like a patch kit and a couple water bottles and things like that. So we had some candy bars.
Do you remember what they were?
We assume it was a Hershey bar.
Hershey bar. Love them.
So we grabbed one of the candy bars, open it up. We each kind of break off a little piece of it, eat it, because this thing was staring at us. This thing was locked onto us. And so we each grabbed a piece, and then we threw it kind of at this Bigfoot, just like it did to us. And we threw it on the ground. And sure enough, it reached down and grabbed this candy bar. I mean,
wow.
We thought it was. We were scared, but same time we thought it was funny. We're feeding this Bigfoot.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
it was. So anyway, so at that point, it started to walk away, and it was almost looking back at us, wondering. I don't know if wondering, but like if it walks away and you think that, that they're going to follow, and you almost look back, it's like, are you coming? And that's kind of how it happened. This Bigfoot was walking away and almost like looking back at us. We felt that it wanted us to follow, and I think our curiosity got the best of us because we did. We followed it along. And
so you followed the Bigfoot?
We followed this Bigfoot, yes.
Wow.
Yep, it was pretty incredible.
And how long of a following are we talking about? Miles?
It was about a mile or so that we believe. We were so focused on this thing when we're walking, and now this is again 20 years later. So I wouldn't say we forgot about this story or anything like that, but we kind of ignored it, and we didn't go out telling anybody about this other than our initial time when we got home, and obviously now. Well, so we had got together, my buddy of mine, before I put this book together, and tried to remember every detail that we could about this, so I can get everything out there exactly how it was. But we think there was about a mile or so that we walked into the woods and followed along. We obviously kept that distance.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
We followed along. We followed this Bigfoot.
Wow, that's a fascinating story. Now, I think the one thing I think all the listeners are probably going to say is, "Where's the proof? Where's the proof?" Obviously, cell phones didn't have cameras. Did you have a regular camera with you?
No, we didn't have a camera. We were just up there for a bike ride.
And you're kids. You're not Bigfoot hunters, so you're not out there doing print castings and hair samples.
We didn't. Yeah, we didn't have. I know that's a thing now that we didn't know about that. I had no idea. Collecting hair samples. We obviously didn't take any foot castings. We weren't out there looking for Bigfoot. We weren't out there looking for anything. We're just out there for a quick little bike ride.
Yeah.
So, I did have my phone on me, like I said, but this was just your basic flip phone. There was no camera phone.
Right.
Well, not that I had at the time.
Yeah.
And, all we had basically was our backpack full of some bike tools, my phone, and that's really it.
Now, obviously, you're on the show here, so you wrote the book, and we have you on the show. I want the listeners to understand that we pursued you to be on this show. It wasn't you pursuing us.
Right.
Because I know that this is not your thing. You're not out there doing seminars and...
No. I'm, like I had said earlier, this was kind of a bunch of coworkers kind of convinced me to write this book and tell my story because they thought it was interesting. I didn't think anybody would really find it that interesting, so I'm pretty shocked with all the attention that it's got. That's for sure. But no, I don't do any seminars or anything like that, or book signings or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You might have to at some point because this book is hot. This is hot.
Hey. You never know.
Now, I don't want you to give away everything here, but within the book, there is a little love interest story with an old girlfriend. Can you just kind of give us a little info on that?
Sure. Well, because we're of the events that took place in the woods, and we ended up getting lost in the woods. We couldn't find our way back. So this was about a 2-day ordeal here, and so. Because we were stuck up there, basically what ended up happening is I kind of reconnected to a long-lost girlfriend from back in Boston that had moved out there. And again, I explained a little more in detail how this all happened in the book, but we attribute that to that day meeting Bigfoot, and that's where the name comes from, the day I met Bigfoot, because it had really a life-altering it was a life-altering experience in more ways than one.
I can imagine. As I said, I read the book. I love it. All my staff read the book. Mm-hmm. They love it. I'm not going to call myself a celebrity, but you know what? I have a lot of celebrity friends. There is a little bit of buzz about this book, and there's a possibility, you never know, this could turn into a movie. Are you prepared for that?
Well, that's the first I've heard of that, but hey, what the heck,
I think it has a potential to be a good movie. So, just for fun, if it was a movie, who'd play you?
Who would play me? That's a good question. I mean, it's got to be somebody good looking, right?
You know what?
A cool guy?
I would pick. I was thinking Brad Pitt.
No, I'm thinking more like, I like Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper, yeah. He has that Bigfoot hunter look.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
I do. All right, Craig, listen, I've had a ton of fun here, and we're getting low on time, but there's still a few things I want to cover before we have to close out the show here. We get a lot of callers into the show. We get a lot of emails into the show. Tonight, we couldn't do the callers live. I apologize. We had some technical issues. But our email board did light up, and we got a lot of emails in. So I'm going to read a couple here and see if you can answer these.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I'd love to come back and answer some.
Wait, we will. Don't worry. There'll be a part 2.
Okay.
All right, so we have an email here from Bigfoot Tony from Ontario, Canada. Are you still friends with your buddy from the story?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're still friends to this day.
That's great.
I mean, after experience like that.
Well, what does he think of the book?
Well, what do you mean?
Does he like the fact you wrote the book? And
Oh, yeah, he's all for it. I think he was a little hesitant at first because, like myself, he, like I said, we didn't go out telling anybody about. At first when this happened, we said, well, we gotta tell people. We just saw this Bigfoot. We gotta tell everybody. We thought of, what do we call it? We call it the police. Do we call the news? We didn't,
Right.
And I think basically once we got home, we realized that when we would tell people, it's almost like, yeah, sure, okay, sure you did.
Yeah, who's going to believe you, right?
Right. So I think it kind of faded quickly, and we kind of just, like I said earlier, kind of ignored telling the story and didn't really pursue it. But I got a friend of mine at work, and I didn't realize it, but years later, tell him the story, and he's all for it. The guy is like the biggest Bigfoot guy you'd ever meet.
That's awesome.
His name is Bill. The guy's ridiculous. I mean, so I tell him the story, and one day he tells me come over his house and go to a barbecue and all that. His basement is anything Bigfoot related.
Wow,
his basement is full of Bigfoot stuff. And that is a great guy.
Bigfoot is a diehard people.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you, the Bigfoot community. I've got nothing but a lot of positive messages from the Bigfoot community. Like I said, initially I would tell this story, and it would probably be to mostly these skeptics or whatever, and who didn't believe me. So like I said, I kind of never really went out and telling a story. But this guy who's big into Bigfoot, no, you got to tell the story. You got to get out there. The people who believe in Bigfoot are going to respect it. They're going to know it, and they're going to know it's true, and you're going to help spread the story and get the information out there. So
people near and far are interested in this book.
I
Segue to the next email.
What the heck?
This comes from Brian, I'm hoping you'll pronounce this correctly, Healy, all the ways from Botswana.
Wow.
Botswana, that's pretty far.
Wow, that's...
Right? Now, he wants to know, will you autograph a copy if he sends it to you?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, I don't think we can talk about addresses on the air, but we can do that off air.
Off air, I'll give you my address.
So, Brian, if you are listening tonight, you're going to get an autographed copy, my man.
Hey.
That's awesome. Speaking of autographed copies, would you sign mine before you leave tonight?
Absolutely. Sure, you got it.
All right, let's end on a really, really positive note here. So my staff obviously pulls numbers, and they gave me some interesting numbers here. This book is currently #1 in Australia.
Wow, I had no idea.
It was the #1 release on Amazon in July.
Yeah, Paul actually told me about that.
I mean,
he keeps tabs on all this stuff.
Paul knows everything.
Paul from the Bigfoot Foundation. He told me it was #1 on Amazon. Like I said, I expected if I sold one copy, I figure I might sell a couple copies to some family members.
Right, right.
But it's like
if
I sell one copy, then I'd be happy. But to be #1 on Amazon as a new release, I'm telling you that was really incredible.
So say I don't have Amazon. Where else can I get the book?
Oh, you can pretty much get it anywhere books are sold. You can get it at Walmart.com, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble. I've actually had some people tell me that they bought it on eBay. Somebody actually told me there was one selling on eBay for $398.
Oh, my.
Like, are you kidding me?
That's fantastic. Good for him.
Well, I would hope somebody didn't buy that and they would buy it at Amazon. It's only $6 or so on Amazon.
Yeah. There's a sucker born every minute, my man.
Yeah, so somebody's walking around with $392.
So obviously we're talking about all the positive and good stuff. Have you had any backlash on this?
Any backlash? No. To be honest with you, I think, like I said earlier, the Bigfoot community has really been, had some welcoming arms and really taken to it because, like I said, so again, with Paul, who had convinced me to create an Instagram account.
Yep.
Which is at the day I met Bigfoot, and I'm telling you, people love the book. They're gonna start sending you stuff, and he's like, I'll help you out. I'll see if I can get you on some podcasts and all sorts of stuff like that. I'm like, I wasn't really like, this is all new to me. I've never been on a radio show
right.
How
do you like it? You having fun?
It's pretty cool. I mean, you got free Red Bull here. It's 1:00 in the morning.
Hey.
But so, told me, get out there and create the Instagram account, and people love the book. They're gonna, and it's crazy. I'm getting pictures of people holding the book, and people get the picture of their cat with the book. It's crazy. The response has really been tremendous, and so I post some pictures. I post some pictures of some reviews. The reviews they're coming in. Get some great reviews. I never expected any of that.
Hey, you know what? Good things come to those who do good things.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Unfortunately, Craig, we are close to being out of time. I do have to get some commercials in here, so will you come back again?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I'd love to take some calls and
absolutely. Let's do that next time. We'll open up the phone boards and we'll get some people on here.
Listeners,
talk some Bigfoot.
Absolutely.
All righty, Craig. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Until next time, everyone. Mysteries are just yet to be discovered explanations. This has been Dirk Fontaine.